Good morning, everybody. This is Ed Winabo with Ed Travels. I Took the Leap travel blog at www.itooktheleap and Instagram at I Took the Leap and the ITL travel blog on Facebook. And yesterday I updated links to this COVID-19 daily update video playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can find it there. Just go to YouTube to Ed Travels. Well, enough of the channel stuff. My cushion fell out here, got a bad back. But today is April 1st. Here's April 1st. And I just, not much of an April Fool's mode, because this whole thing feels like a bad April Fool's joke. The virus continues to do its thing, so let's get right into it with the numbers. Worldwide, 857,299 confirmed cases with 42,144 deaths, and that's an increase of 72,561 cases worldwide. In the United States, getting 187,729 confirmed cases with 3,867 deaths, and that's an increase of 23,941 cases in a 24-hour period. That's almost 24,000 new cases, and that has to be one of the highest numbers since I've been doing this video, which is quite alarming. And in the Philippines, where I am here in Lapu-Lapu City, we're at 2,084 cases nationwide with 88 deaths and a rise of 538 cases. And while I'm here, I want to touch on that. That's very important, because as of yesterday, as more testing kits are made available, more places are being designated for testing. Therefore, here in the Philippines, a wider range of people are getting tested. And we had an increase in one day, less than one day, of 538 new confirmed cases. And I'm telling you, man, people are freaking out. It's like cabin fever is setting in. Almost the reality of that this thing is not going to be over in 2 weeks is really setting in. And I can say that, the government here, starting all the way from the top, from President Rodrigo Duterte, they're not playing about it. He did a short video yesterday about the government handing out aid to the state and the local governments, to the provinces and then to the barangay. And people keeping it for themselves or misusing it or not giving it out. And he has a zero tolerance policy. Said he's going to suspend you, arrest you, jail you, period. I mean, and if anybody knows anything about him, hey, what you see is what you get. And I think that that's an unfortunate part of human nature. Some people don't have the scruples and the morals to do what's right. And they're going to look out for themselves, especially in a country where people are struggling already. Oh, wow, man, I got this rice and this food, maybe a little money from the government. I'm going to look out for my constituents. I'm going to look out for those people that look out for me. So those people are going out and they're not handing those much needed goods out to the people that they're sworn to serve. And that's really unfortunate. But at least the government here is on that. And I have to touch on this again, and I know you guys might be get tired of me talking about it, but social distancing, people. Oh my God. As I said yesterday, the best 18 seconds of a video I saw was from an infectious disease specialist in the UK. He said, act as if you already have the virus, and then, conduct yourself accordingly, so that you don't want other people to get it. The United States is really just getting under my skin. I mean, there's story after story after story after story about people that are totally ignoring it. I know it's just not the United States, but I'm just going to talk about where my family and my friends and the people that I care about are right now at this moment, and that's the U.S. The kids that chartered the plane down to Cabo for spring break, and they tracked them back by their cell phones, and I'm going to highlight that in a minute. And they found out that 28 of them out of those 70 kids were positive for the coronavirus. And when they landed back in the U.S., boom, they spread out in their own separate ways, unaware that they were infected. And God knows how many other people that were infected due to that. And now you got almost 24,000 new cases in a 24-hour period. This young lady in I think it's Nashville, who just went on TV. Oh, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna get it. A couple days later, bam. You know, she has the virus, and she's oh, it's serious, and my lungs hurt, and it's hard to breathe. Well, you were bullshitting. You were playing around. You thought it was a joke. You know, the pastor down in Florida, in Hillsborough County, who they finally arrested for this mega church for continuing to have services. And there are more and more examples that just go on and on and on. It's almost like people in the U.S. are so damn entitled and spoiled. And no, you don't like your freedom taken away, but damn, you know, it doesn't make sense. You're spreading this. You have the possibility of spreading this. You could be anti-symptomatic. You could be infected with the virus with no symptoms. Or you can be infected with the virus, which has an average incubation time of 2 weeks, of up to 14 days before you start exhibiting symptoms. So while you're running around, breathing and spitting and droplets falling all over the place, you're endangering other people. And this will never stop. As long as this attitude continues to be prevalent in the United States, it's not going to stop, and it's not going to get better. And on that note, I would say this, and I go out of my way to keep this apolitical. But when it starts at the top, and we all know who we're talking about, this rush to get the country back open for economic purposes, I would make this argument. If you shut everything down right now, if you just instituted a nationwide shutdown, no BS, no games, we're going to shut this down, don't you think that that would be a much better, practical, pragmatic, logical way to go about this? If you really want the economy open, say in a month, if you shut everything down, balls to the wall, hard as it can be, try to get a real grasp on this thing, then the cases should start coming down and you can start reopening parts of the government. But in the meantime of downplaying it and acting like it isn't important and it isn't real, you're making matters worse. That's my view. Because there are consequences to this. And speaking of consequences, during this enhanced community quarantine here in the Philippines, and I'm just going to talk about Cebu and Gwendolyn Garcia, the governor here. Before they got to the enhanced community quarantine, they did a curfew for people 65 and over and kids 18 and under. And first it started by 3 p.m. Those two particular groups had to be at home. But then when the enhanced community quarantine came in, it became a 24-hour thing, unless there were specific exemptions. But what started to happen was these kids started sneaking out the house. So the police said initially, we catch the kids, we're going to detain them, get the parents down. The parents are going to be charged, you know, for not, you know, taking care of their kids. And then after this is over, we'll charge them as a felony. Well, that turned out not to be that much of a deterrent. So the kids were still getting out. And I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the kids just being bored, not understanding, didn't care. And it wasn't so much on the parents. But the parents are ultimately responsible. Well, yesterday, I was told by someone very close to the situation that the ball game has changed dramatically. Now, if a child is caught outside the parameters of those curfew and quarantine rules, they have built, meaning the authorities and the police, have built a detention camp specifically for children that are caught violating the quarantine and the curfew. They're taken there, they're held there, and then their parents are contacted. The parents come down to get the kids, and then the parents are fined. Now, some of you are going to be in shock at that, I'm pretty sure. Oh, how could they do that? But as for me, your actions have consequences. These people are not playing. Stay at home. And if you got your kids, keep their little asses at home too. Because these people aren't playing. It amazes me that in the U.S. I've had 3 or 4 friends say, oh man, we're going to start that next week. Maybe we'll start more stringent quarantine the next week. Well, what's taking you so long? We've been doing it here for 3 weeks. And this is a third world country, I guess. But hey, it is what it is. My situation yesterday around, I'd say 1 o'clock, went down to Save More to the grocery store with my quarantine pass and my mask, and I was able to get some cash out of the ATM. I was able to do some shopping. Not that many people. That particular Save More store had a lot of stock. I got, bread, peanut butter, and jelly, which is delicious no matter where you are in the world. Noodles, even though I really don't eat the processed noodles. Got some eggs, got some stuff that I could cook, cheese, basic things. I can still order takeout. That's still going full speed here. Was able to go out and get some antibiotics for the next 21 days that I'm able to take to deal with this stomach thing. And I'm in a good place. I also saw a trike driver here who we've become friends over the time that I've been here. I stopped, he lives right up the street, and I stopped and talked to him for a minute. He kind of explained to me that since he hasn't been driving the trike, he hasn't been able to make any money. That makes sense because they're abandoned. I gave him a couple of pesos, a couple hundred pesos, and he was extremely thankful. But I just happened to look into his very basic home, and I saw his wife sleeping on the floor with their baby and his son, and it just moved me to give him a little help as I could, and to me that's much more than you got to get out of yourself. And today or tomorrow I'm going to go over to the Sorry store and give him a little care package. A couple kilos of rice, some noodles, some eggs, just basic stuff that they need. And that's just the right thing to do. It's time to be human. It's time to care about each other. It's not just about you. And I just wanted to touch on this. And this is basically a rhetorical question. I've started to believe, as the more spiritual I get, that everything happens for a reason. The universe does nothing by mistake, and I'm a true believer in karma. And, speaking to the Buddhist monks and me studying Buddhism, it's really karma, which is what you do. And karma has everybody's address, and whatever you throw out in the universe is surely going to come back to you. But my question is, what are we supposed to learn from this? There has to be an inherent lesson that we're supposed to learn from this whole thing. What it is, I don't know. I'm going to ponder on that. And what has isolation taught us about the world around us, about the people around us, and most importantly, about ourselves? When you isolate, you have nobody to talk to lean on but yourself. So what have you learned about yourself during this isolation? I really want to understand that. And more importantly, I want people to understand that this is not an economic or political crisis. It's a global health crisis. And shame on those people that try to attach their political views and their economic views and their racial views and their class and culture and social views on the back of this epidemic. That's not what it's about. It's about doing what you have to do to survive, to be there for the people that you love and the people that you care about. You don't get a second chance at this life. Cherish it. Make the best of it. Learn to love each other. You need to live, first of all, because life still goes on during the middle of this epidemic. You need to live. Realize that. Secondly, you need to love. Love ye one another. That was a commandment that was given. Love ye one another. Think about others before you think about just yourself. And more importantly, to help you make it through, laugh. Take a moment of levity. Tell a joke. Watch a stand-up. Watch your favorite movie that makes you laugh. Laughter helps heal pain. And you know what? If you have to cry, that's okay. Tears are the way that your soul cleanses itself. With every tear that rolls down your face, there's a little bit less pain that you're dealing with yourself. So hey, that's just some food for thought. It's gonna be okay. This too shall pass. The sun will rise in the morning. And to everybody out there, again, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ed Onambo with Ed Travels. See you tomorrow. Namaste.